Hey there, fellow travelers of the cinematic cosmos. I'm your guide, Joseph Charafi, and I'm here to invite you to ride shotgun on a wild journey we call Flashback Montage. On this trip, we'll plunge headfirst into the glorious chaos of film, TV, and the strange tales of lifestyle coaches who have shifted the tides of human consciousness. In each episode, we'll storm the gates of a different year, exploring the psychedelic depths of the stories that made us weep, laugh, and redefine the American dream. So my friends, throw your aviator glasses on, grab some popcorn, and buckle up for a mind-bending escapade. Subscribe to Flashback Montage on YouTube, and together we'll dance with the ghosts of our favorite celluloid memories. See you on the other side. Welcome to Flashback Montage. I'm Joseph Charafi, the podcast where we take a trip down memory lane and revisit some of the most iconic movies, TV shows, and cultural moments of the past. Again, I'm your host, Joseph Charafi, and each week I'll be joined by a special guest as we dive into a specific year and explore the highlights of that time in hotspots. Now, from blockbusters that define the era or shows that kept us glued to our screens, we relive the nostalgia and celebrate the classics that still hold up today. But we won't just be talking about entertainment. We'll also look at lifestyle coaches who inspired and influenced us and how their impact can still be felt on our lives today. So it's a journey through time that will make you laugh, reminisce, and maybe even shed a tear. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's take a trip back in time with Flashback Montage. My first guest today is a visual effects production professional. I've known him since college. It's Chris Drescher. Chris, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's up, Joseph? Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. So, first of all, I want to just say so much about this person. I mean, like, I've known him since the Art Institute of Denver. And he has been in visual effects. Like, that has been his main gig for a long time. But now he's an art tech at the Win, but he's also doing production also as his kind of side gig or whatnot, or freelance.
Yeah, side business. Yeah.
Nice. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and just kind of what you do? Who are you?
So a lot of times, a lot of production companies, they need like a liaison. They need someone to look at a project from a different angle. And I'm someone who, I'm like a specialist in a way that provides production companies niche services. So over the years, I've done a lot of crazy TV and film. I've worked as like set designer for HGTV. I've done music videos. I basically hook them up with what is needed to make things look great. And as that profession goes, I've learned a lot in the field, and it's been quite the journey. And so it's great looking back and seeing from my point of view what inspired me to get into the movies, to make movies.
What was that? What inspired you?
Well, it all kind of started back in the day. If you remember, like E-Bombs World, or back when the internet was getting real hot and popular, they had these images show up on the internet that looked real almost, but it was totally photoshopped. And I was like, man, I want to do that. I want to make my own stuff that people can be inspired by. And I saw it as artwork. I saw it as my way of expressing myself by manipulating imagery and photography and video using the technology that we had at the time. And back then we didn't have much. So that gets to my next big point, is what inspires me.
Yeah.
And so I got to say, the number one film that really kind of grabbed it for me was Jurassic Park.
Oh, I love Jurassic Park. Some Steven Spielberg. Okay,
yep.
Awesome.
Steven Spielberg kind of blew everyone's minds. There's that one cut where they finally see the dinosaur looking up, and everybody in the movie theater was in awe. They're like, this is great. And at the time, it was groundbreaking special effects. Groundbreaking.
It still holds up. Light magic. Still holds up pretty well.
Yeah, it still looks great even today. And Industrial Light and Magic, they were using like technology back then that really was groundbreaking and basically set new boundaries and raised the ceiling on what was possible.
That's amazing. They used a lot of practical effects on that too, like puppets and whatnot. But there was
Animatronics.
there's this one scene. We use it in the promo for the podcast. It's where she has the flashlight and she's all freaking out and she like points it at the T-Rex and the eye dilates.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so freaking cool. I thought that was the coolest part. Like you see a dinosaur outside the window. Obviously that's really cool.
Yeah.
But you see the eye dilate and like connect with the light and then it reacts to it and it dilates. I was like, dude, that's next level. That's so cool.
And one of the best things about it was when you introduce CGI, and it was kind of new for everyone, going from practical to visual to the CGI back and forth. There was a lot of shots, and I remember I worked with a guy who was one of our professors. His name was Ed Kramer.
Yeah,
and he actually has a stamp of approval by Steven Spielberg himself of that one scene where they're driving away from the T-Rex, and
oh, I think we cut out on you a little bit. No worries, folks. We'll get him back. I think we lost your voice a little bit. I don't know what happened. That's so funny. What did we do last time? How did we fix this last time? No, still not there. It cut out weirdly at the most random moment. Let's see. How did we do this last time? All right, gotcha.
Got it. So we're good. All right, so there's a moment in the movie that was it wasn't even in the original script, but Kramer came up with the idea that when the Tyrannosaurus Rex is facing them, you look in the rearview mirror and it says objects may be closer than they appear.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
That's actually Ed Kramer that brought that up to Steven Spielberg
to put that in there.
Put that in there, and he approved it.
Wow. That's amazing. That's crazy. So Jurassic Park, huh? Jurassic Park does it for you. That's amazing because
Jurassic Park. We're gonna
go into kind of some more of like those movies and the moments and kind of what they meant for you, because I want to know a little bit more about Jurassic Park and that's I believe that's a 94 film, right?
Was that 94?
I think so. But I love it. It's amazing, and I love to just kind of share my guests' favorite movies and kind of why. So like, since we're here, and we might as well just go dive into it a little moment. So Jurassic Park, you said because of the visual effects. What was it like that moved you to be like, this is my number one movie? This is what made me want to do those things. And it was because what? You saw how people were reacting to it? You saw like how you were reacting to it? Like, what was it?
It was, to me, it was the closest thing to reality that was made from a computer at the time. It was the practice of the lighting, the movement, how the camera shot, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of camera tracking movement that they have to put in to sync up, because when you are shooting with a camera and you're putting in CGI, something that's not there, that camera movement is what's revealing the CGI. So from there, I was blown away. I was like, how do they do that?
Well, how about I know because you're super visual effects driven. How about the story of Jurassic Park? Is that, I think, partially part of it?
Right. And that's another thing too, because there are a lot of movies out there where I feel like and I'll go back into my second number two, and that kind of is more practical than anything. There's a lot of movies out there that arguably have the worst CGI that takes away from the story. I hate that. And I was going to say the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That's like, didn't Tim Burton produce that?
I believe
I'm pretty
so.
sure he produced
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Let me look that up.
Yeah, look it up. And then so that movie in particular was that was all practical effects.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that to me and it was really good practical effects. And that when the new movies came out, the CGI ones, where they like were and now you can nowadays we all say like they Michael Bay'd it almost, like they just, to me it's destroying it. It's distracting me.
Michael Bay did
movie.
do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He did the new ones. The two
new
new
ones.
Yeah.
The two new ones.
Yeah.
And
so literally he Michael Bay'd the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He did.
How do you like those? Do you not like those? I'm assuming because
the first one, okay, the original one, all-time favorite. The second, I guess you could say the first Michael Bay one that was not long ago. It was too distracting. It was like there's so much flying and going around, and like this tower was falling. You know, you got all this fighting. There's a girl falling, and then it just crashed. And then all of a sudden, it was just like the girl is fine. How did she survive? Everyone's good.
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
then
make
it was
sense.
like the end of it doesn't really make any sense. And so Michael Bay was just like lens flare, explosions,
yes,
CGI.
Yes,
and I was like,
let's hide all these little moments with a lot of motion and a lot of light deference. And that's a theme that a lot of action movies go with nowadays. Like Extraction is kind of like the Bourne movies kind of set the precedence, but you don't get a lot of like old school, which not old school, we'll say like 90s to early 2000s, like James Bond movies. You know what I mean? Like those are like, you're kind of pretty much seeing the whole scene, every shot, what's going on. It's not so shaky that you're kind of like discombobulated. You don't know what you're looking at. I really enjoy like the Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. I think that they kind of matched. There were some shakiness moments, but for the most part, you could see what's going on in the action. I feel like with those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, like and some of the Transformers stuff, is like you don't know what you're looking at, and I think it makes people uncomfortable.
It's too much.
I like the first Transformers. Honestly, I'm a huge
fan.
Transformer. I'm a big Michael Bay fan, to be honest. A lot of people give him shit, but I think he's an innovator. I think he's a very visually dynamic director. And, his stories, I could say maybe they lack just a tad, but that's what he likes to shoot, And so I've got to give the guy respect for what he does. And he's able to get movies financed. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he throws it down. He gets it to work. So the thing is, he makes it work either way. But what I'm saying too is it's like there's a limit. There's either too much, in the VFX world, subtleness is key. Now, like for example, 007. Yeah, The World's Not Enough. James Bond.
Okay,
that one.
That's with Connery. No, that's with Brosnan, right?
Yes,
I love Pierce Brosnan. He's a good James Bond. Honestly, I think he's probably one of the better ones. Daniel Craig.
Pierce Brosnan and GoldenEye.
Oh, GoldenEye. The same director who directed GoldenEye, they brought him back to do Casino Royale with Daniel Craig because he was just such a good franchise setter. You know what I mean?
You brought it up, so I wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
So there was that plane sequence where he blows up the power plant and he flies out. That was CGI. That was a mix between an actual plane and then a plane taking off and then flying away from the scene.
So walk me through it. What happens in the scene?
So basically, James Bond, of course, being the sharpshooter that he is, escapes with a bullet, shoots a bunch of barrels, escapes out of this thing, hijacks a tank, and then steals a plane, and then the plane starts to dive. It's about to crash, but then last minute he pulls up and escapes. And it's that one scene where the plane is flying away from the plant. It was like maybe 3 seconds.
Wow.
But that closed it, and that was all subtle CGI. Very subtle.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
That's amazing. So I found out Tim Burton had nothing to do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So apparently the director of Ninja Turtles in 1990 used Batman as its vibe for the movie of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie in 90. So just kind of wanted to clear that up. Because sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we
continuity. Got it.
Well, yeah. No, I if anybody was thinking like, I wonder if he's gonna find that out. Is Tim Burton involved with the? He never found out. He left me hanging. We don't do that here on Flashback. We try not to.
Hey, it's good to reminisce, man, and look back. My memory might be a little bit foggy, but now it's coming back to light.
It is, and I'm gonna throw on this scene real quick that you were talking about, because I want them to see. So, James Bond's on a motorcycle right now, and he's trying to catch up to this plane. The plane goes off the cliff. He goes off of the cliff with the motorcycle, and he's got to try to skydive to catch up to the plane. That's outrageous. So he's going down. Obviously, this has got to be a real skydiver really going into the plane. I'm not sure. Maybe it's fake. Maybe this is completely CG. You have to look this up.
They had another base
See, now
jumper.
this looks fake. This looks like him trying to go, but still very cool of how they got him in to go to the door. So now he's looking, this did not hold up well. So now all CG looks like the mountain is all CG. He's trying to pull up on it. He looks super smooth trying to pull up on this stick. The camera's going right into all the mountains got to be CG, all that. And so now the plane, it goes low. And it's that pause moment that, and then it made it. And now it's the plane is CG?
No.
Or the mountains?
The plane and the power plant.
See, that looks like a CG plane. Yes. That looks like a CG plane. Where the power plant blew up. Got it. Yep. Wow.
Yep.
Amazing. I hope we don't get dinged for copyright on that. We don't own any of that. But we wanted to show. Our people. Okay, so let's go over your top favorite movies. This is what I love to do. This is one of my favorite things. So you did your one, right? So let's do 5. Let's do. You guys are hearing my dog freak out. He's got a little problem. Chance, it's okay, buddy. He's got a little issue with his paw, so he's trying to work out some things. So top 5. Go from your 5 down to your 1. You said Jurassic Park.
All right, hold on. Top 5 of all time.
Of all time, yes.
Okay. All right. So, is my number 1 going to be number 5, or is my 5 number 1?
No, I think your number 1 is number 1. Your 5 is number 5, and we'll start from 5.
That.
Yeah.
Okay, so from 5, I'm going to have to say Osmosis Jones. That was actually my
Osmosis Jones with Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Wow. Who's the other guy in that? Who's the other guy?
I forgot who plays him.
He's in Frasier.
Who plays the Tylenol.
He's in Frasier, right?
Something. I think it's like aspirin.
Why Osmosis Jones though?
So I loved Osmosis Jones because 1, it was my first VHS.
Wow, first VHS
I ever owned, and I loved the movie because Bill Murray's in it.
Bill Murray. So, let's do a little breakdown. I got it right here. 2001 American live action animated comedy written by written by Mark Hyman. It looks like it was directed by the Farrelly brothers. Wow. And a couple of other people, Pete Kroon and Tom Cito. So it looks like they might have had some animation directors that they gave them. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Starring Chris Rock, obviously Lawrence Fishburne. Wonderful. David Hyde Pierce. Brandy Norwood, William Shatner, Molly Shannon, Chris Elliott, Bill Murray. Okay, wonderful. So why, you said? Why this is your first VHS?
First VHS, and 2, hey man, it got me educated on my health. So
wow, you're saying Osmosis Jones
inspired me to eat right.
Inspired you to eat right. That's amazing because I actually use Osmosis Jones as a reference very often in my own mind when I think about, is beer hydration? Can you get hydration from beer? And then I remember Chris Elliott saying in that movie, he's like, well, obviously there's some sort of liquid in there. You're getting some sort of water. So
and I remember that one scene. He said, well, when you have a cold, starve the flu or starve a cold, drown the flu. And he shoves a beer in his hand and he starts drinking.
Yes,
and all in my mind, that has every time I was always sick.
Yeah. Did you do that?
I always thought, don't drink beer.
Yeah.
And two, hey, if you drink too much, that lowers your immune system.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, all right, number 4.
Oh, wait.
MIB.
Oh, number 4, Men in Black.
Number 4 is Men in Black, because number 4 also mixture of CGI and practical.
Men in Black, 1997 American action comedy film based on the comic series by Marvel Comics. Did not know that, actually. That's crazy.
Marvel was in it. They're all about it.
It was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, written by Ed Solomon, produced by Steven Spielberg, and a number of others, starring Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. I think you guys all know this. If you guys don't know Men in Black, get on it. You're missing out. Why Men in Black, Chris?
Well, first of all, it was one of the first really cool alien movies, and I'm kind of like an alien nerd. I'm all obsessed about it. Love that stuff. The fact that there was this theory that, hey, there's a secret organization above like our own government that knows way more about everything, and it's kind of like the NATO of the universe.
Wow.
So, and that's how I saw it. And, and so to me, I always thought, because my mom was still an alien at the time.
Well, but she's not from a different planet.
She's not from a different planet,
she's from
a different country.
Okay, sometimes it feels like she's from a different planet.
Yeah.
But she's from another country.
Right. So cool. She'd always joke around, like, because she has this accent, right? And so she'd always joke around in school when she was picking me up from class when I was a kid. And people are all like, "Oh, where are you from?" She's like, "Oh, I'm a legal alien. I got little antennas coming out of my head." And I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Whoa."
What does that mean?
Like,
so that brings up a big point, actually, is that Steven Spielberg, a lot of people say that he has friends in high places based off of some stuff that he's done, and that he may have connections to some privy information, like in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, of how they made the spaceship and how they were doing the sound signals of how they were communicating. Like that stuff was based off of, pretty much, I read that somebody gave this information to Steven Spielberg that was high up in the government. That's pretty much what's going on. So
very much so
leads me to believe that maybe he knows a little bit more of how the situation is set up than you would think, and nobody's really going to pay attention. They're like, "Oh, it's Spielberg. Like, it's a movie. Like, have fun," But really, he's kind of sprinkling in possibly close to the sort of how it really is in Men in Black, or like, I always thought it was very interesting because they had different species of aliens, and they all worked for MIB.
They were all working together.
They all worked for MIB.
It was like the NATO of the universe.
Right. But there were still some that were like, they would get you. They weren't, they were on par. They were like the cockroach one. Like like an insect. They weren't smart enough to join forces. They just wanted to annihilate. I think they actually have a line in there about like, why aren't they apart? Why don't we have a cockroach MIB? And there's something about it, like they're too...
Yeah,
like,
they don't want to mess with them.
The bugs. You don't mess with the bugs.
They're dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, the guy that plays as the cockroach.
Oh, he's great. Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How to say that name? He's crazy.
He is absolutely insane. He is
great guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he's a great guy.
I think he rivals Christian Bale on method acting.
Wow. You think
because of what he went through?
Do you think
to play that part?
Wait, what did he go through?
He actually put stuff in his face. He taped his face like at night, and like he put I think he put a pipe in his leg and walked around like that offset, just so that he could get used to walking like this.
Could you imagine that? Just like walking out on like New York, just walking like that, and nobody's even paying attention to you. They're just like, yeah, this is just normal.
He said that. I think he said in an interview that like someone called the cops on him, and like,
could you imagine that the cops show up to this guy and they're like, "Hey, sorry, we've got to pick you up because somebody is disturbed by your natural way of being." And he's like, "Actually, I'm an actor." I don't even know if he would do that. Would he even? I'd probably not. All right. Well, let's move on to move on to the next. So Men in Black's great. Number three.
Number three, I'm going to have to say, going back to GoldenEye, we already talked about that. That's going to be my third one.
GoldenEye. Well, let's just briefly, why GoldenEye? You said the CG, but like, tell me, is it like the story? Is it the story? You know, what pushes you about
like
GoldenEye?
Redemption. It was to me one of the best. It was like for England, James. You know. Mm-hmm. You know, and so
nationalism on the coolest level possible, like making nationalism like colonialism and nationalism super sexy, right? Oh my God, why did I lose you again? I lost your thing again. Let me see if I can do this little thing. Maybe it's an issue over here that we're having. Let me see if I can. You back? No, it didn't do it. It didn't fix it that time. Let's see here. Yep. Okay, you're back.
All right. So basically, that movie also they used the Chinese radio satellite, and it was the first time ever that anything was shot there.
So that the scene with the dish.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That was the first time, and that brought me back to my other point with MIB because they were trying to they had just started using it, looking for signals of life beyond, like while they were shooting that movie.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of inspirational.
That's amazing. GoldenEye.
It was actually the first James Bond movie I saw in theaters.
No way.
Yep. That was the first James Bond movie I saw in theaters, so that's why.
Also, like GoldenEye too, it kind of it reinvigorated
Yep.
the James Bond, you know, it was the first Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie. And I think I remember seeing it like 1995. It was like the first James Bond film to be produced by, it was his daughter, right? Barbara, who started doing this after Albert had kind of let it go. Barbara Broccoli, I believe is the name of it. Mm-hmm. So GoldenEye, 1995 Metaspa film, spy film, Metaspa. That sounds like a cool Metaspa, like Facebook spa. Let's see here. It's based on obviously James Bond character by Ian Fleming, produced by Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, starring Pierce Brosnan, Sean Bean. Oh yeah, who plays 006 in that? He's killing that. Famke
he always
Janssen.
Gets killed.
He always killed.
He dies the best way. He was in HBO with Game of Thrones, and he was only there for like how many episodes?
Like the first season. The first season. He died in the last episode of the first season, which was set the precedence for that beautiful, magnificent show that will probably show up on our list at some point. Okay, so wonderful. GoldenEye. Okay, so that's your third one. What's your second?
Second, I would have to say my second one would have to be I was gonna go Star Wars for a second.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was gonna go Star Wars for a second.
Okay,
but it's really hard for me. It's really hard.
Okay.
I'm going to have to say
I had to do something very terrible tonight. Something I don't want to do, but I have to.
What's that, D?
Brother lately?
I already got very sad.
Any idea when he might happen?
I don't know. What if he did?
I'll say
For what? What you gonna do about it, bitch boy?
My dad said Ben was running low-level dropbacks for street crews. Do you know which ones?
Who would know? Who would know?
Wise up, kid, or else there's gonna be a bullet in the back of your head.
We gotta do this.
Please don't do this.
We have to.
Never-ending story.
Never-ending story. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Tell us why Never-ending story.
Belcor. It was just it was imaginative, magical, sad. It was just a roller coaster of emotions.
Wow. Okay.
In that movie.
So, Never-ending story, fantasy film, directed and co-written by Wolfgang Peterson. If you guys don't know who that guy, he's a powerhouse director. He did like Troy and Poseidon, and is pretty amazing stuff. Based on the 1979 novel by Michael Ende. This was starring Noah Hathaway, which has been getting some press lately on social media. People have been throwing out love to Noah Hathaway. I believe that he passed away. So obviously condolences to him and his family. Barrett Oliver, Tammy Stronach, Patricia Hayes. So tell us, why do you love it? What's it about? Why do you love it?
So it was it was a mixture of visual effects and some of the best puppetry I've ever seen. And the story itself is a great one. It's about people bonding in a friendship. When you're stuck in a situation with people you don't know if you want to trust or not. That movie kind of like embodied like, hey, let's work together.
Wow.
And that to me was the story itself, the character arc in it was great. And then the ending, of course, like who wouldn't want to like fly a giant dragon dog? You know what I mean? Like it's great. So
yeah.
That's going to be my number 2.
Awesome.
Number 1.
Number one.
Okay.
Number one.
Number one.
Number one.
Number one. This is by far, and I think will always be my number 1, and that is The Life of Pi.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. That's Ang Lee. Beautiful film, action, adventure drama, 2012. Produced by Ang Lee, written by David Magee.
So that particular movie, I hold strong to because when I was in high school, I read that book. Actually, no, high school. I read that book, The Life of Pi. And I was talking to my instructor about it. And he said, yeah, they were thinking about making this a movie, but it'll never happen. And I was like, why would it never happen? And this was like before we started reading the book. And he said, it is such a such a huge, massive visual journey of everything that you can ever imagine. And the expression of how for it to be even made or even to visualize it, it's only best for you to visualize it in your own mind and as you're reading it. Wow. And so the best thing ever was when I read the whole book. Mm-hmm. I cried reading that book. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that it was coming out in theaters, mm-hmm. I was 50% excited, 50% scared. Because I was like, yo, if they screw this up, I mean, you can't like take my mental vision and put it on a screen. That's impossible. You can't do it the way I would do it. Mm-hmm. And guess what? They did. They pulled it off.
Wow.
It was CGI that made it possible.
Wow. CGI that made it possible.
It was CGI that made it possible. And it's that movie and Who Watches the Watchmen would be those two same equivalent in CGI making movies possible. And so
let's dig in a little bit deeper into The Life of Pi. So what was your feeling when you were watching this story unfold for the first time? You know, what were your emotions? Because I really want to dig into for the audience to like, why do we go to the movies? Why do we have
Right.
these feelings? Like, we can stream all day, but
Mhm.
what was it that made you like? Because people, like you said, you could remember. I remember going to the movie. I remember seeing that in theaters. I remember
Oh
having
yeah.
this visceral feeling. So, if you can, try to remember some key moments that really brought up some emotions, and if you can share
So
that.
I get goosebumps from this. It was 3 different scenes in the movie. It was one of them being when the ship was sinking and all the animals were trying to escape.
Oh yeah,
And
at the
it
beginning,
was horrifying.
right?
And I got goosebumps. Like I was holding on to the edge of my seat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and uh, at the beginning of the movie, when they are doing these really nice, easy close-up shots of some of the animals,
Mm-hmm.
what blew my mind was that they were CGI.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that was kind of like the Jungle Book sort of thing. Is that they really decided to go really full on live action, picture
Yeah,
real,
photorealism.
yeah, photo
Photorealism.
real. That's just
Yeah.
nuts, man. It's the Life of Pi. That's such a good one to choose, man, because there's so many moments in there. Like I remember distinctly from Life of Pi, the final scene when he's almost like dead from emaciation and they finally hit land and he looks at the tiger at the last moment. And I think he says this in the book too. And he says it's like he just turned and left like nothing. Like I didn't mean anything to him. You know?
And, like, yeah, and he was like, well, what can I do? Like God made him a tiger, you know? And so,
Wow.
you know, and that's
so powerful.
and
Acceptance, right?
I was crying. That was one of the few. They had over 180 artists.
Oh, wow.
Just working on the tiger.
It's, you know, it's very, have you ever heard of these monks? I would need to look and see which denomination of monk that they are, but they will go to places. A lot of places will have, like the White House will sometimes bring them, or like ministries. It's a very interesting sort of deal. Anyway, they put them up for a month, and these monks, they work every day constantly on these different colored sand pieces. It's just one piece. It's like 4 to 6 people, monks working together on it. And they're just constantly crafting this thing. You know, they've got the droppers, they've got the sculptors, they've got the rounders. Like everybody kind of has positions, and then they kind of switch up. So it's beautiful. And then once they're done, everybody looks at it. It's amazing. And then they go to the river and they dump it into the river, into the water, after they've spent so much time doing this. And this signifies that creation is inevitable. You know, natural selection is it's true for a reason, and acceptance, you know, not attaching yourselves to these material things too hard. And I think the Life of Pi, I think it's dipping on that. I really do. I feel like I got that from that movie.
There was a lot of the scenery that, I mean, if you read the book and then you saw the movie, I was just so impressed on how well they conveyed everything, from the tiger to the island, to in the beginning of the movie when he was expressing this clean pool that would mirror the sky. And so there's that scene of that person swimming in the pool, and it's almost like he's swimming in the clouds. And so and in my mind, I could visualize that. But when I saw that in the movie, I was like, wow, they just went over, above, and beyond. Now, Life of Pi, I don't know if you know, but you probably do, but our audience may not. Bollywood is in India. Yeah. And they have one of the world's largest pools to do cinematography in.
Oh, wow.
And so, it's specifically made for cinematography. It can, that's where they put the boat, that's where they put the ship, that's where they put a lot of the scenes in. The VFX studio went bankrupt because they spent so much time making this movie. They basically, I think they barely met their budget. They barely made any money back.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I would say it was a complete bust on profit. And so that was, but it was something that was like, it had to be done.
Mm.
You know, it was such a crazy, awesome movie. And
So
the detail,
it looks like it made 609 million and the budget was
109.
and the budget was 120 million. So it looks like they made pretty good amount of money on that one for
good,
sure.
Yeah. Well, at first they were like,
Sure.
we're losing it.
Oh, sure.
You know, we're
$120
we're
million
losing it.
movie. That's huge. That's more than
That's a
Avatar.
lot.
Or that's near Avatar. Yeah.
And then
The first one anyway.
The first one, the second Avatar, they had to break $1 billion in order to make profit. So that tells you something. Sonic the Hedgehog movie, that had to be redone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that VFX studio definitely went bankrupt.
They did?
They did.
Did they make their money back?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Wow.
They lost a lot of money.
But they got Sonic out and it worked. Sonic made a lot of money. I'm assuming they must have made some money. And they made a sequel too. Was it did they keep the same visual effects people for the second one?
I think they had to. But the first VFX, so the second company, VFX company that they hired, they were like, oh man, we're bleeding money right now. Because they had to re-release it. Because once they came out with that trailer,
everyone was shitting on it so bad because it looked bad. It looked bad. They were like, nobody's gonna watch it. It's gonna be a horrible movie.
Right.
And so they ended up what? They ended up redoing it, and it came out, and it was better. It was closer to how people think Sonic should probably look computer animated. Isn't that interesting? How when you come to computer animation, it's like, I think, who said it? Was it Lasseter at Pixar said something about we couldn't make the fish too fishy. Like we were getting really close to making the fish look real as everything. And they were like, this is too weird. Like we don't have expression. We lose expression in the face. Like we need to put the eyes closer. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't, like a fish looks like a fish. I think they did that too with the Jungle or Lion King.
Oh my God, I was just about to bring it up. It was almost too real.
It's too real, bro.
Like freaking kids out.
It was I was watching the lion react and I'm like, dude, I'm supposed to feel this moment. And this lion is just like this. Just the lion eyes. You know what I mean? Like there's no emotion in the eyes. They're just they want to eat you is kind of what it feels like to me.
You can't, you have to leave in some kind of
animated expression,
cartoony
human
expression.
We got to see ourselves. We got to see ourselves slightly on a more cartoon way. Like who does that well?
It's just a pig. It's just a pig. It's just a meerkat, and it's just a lion.
It's not Pumbaa. It's not Timon.
It's not Puma.
It's not Simba.
Puma. He's not. Yeah. It's not Simba. Like where's Timon? Which one is Timon?
Timon is the small one.
I know. But Timon against all the other meerkats, you had to
like how would you tell? Like, yeah, how would you tell? And I think they're kind of playing on that.
They're all like the tuft on his chest. That's how you know.
Oh, there you go. There you go. See, so it's like when CG can help a situation and then it can cause it to be a little bit weird.
Complete chaos.
I would have to say though that I'm glad that they did it because you need to do stuff in order to be able to kind of see, does that work? And then like Jon Favreau, I'm a huge Jon Favreau fan. He did Jungle Book, it came out well. And then he did The Lion King, amongst other things. But then, these kind of animated classics because Disney's into this new thing of, pumping out new movies from their old IPs. And so they done it before in the 90s where they made sequels to movies that they shouldn't have done, like Little Mermaid 2, Bambi.
Oh my God.
Bambi got a sequel. There's a couple that kind of hit okay, but they were just churning them out. So now they're kind of doing the same thing, but they're now taking the old animated classics and opening them up for a live action rendition, which it's not bad. I think that they've done really well on some. And some I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm glad that they're there because kids can now be introduced to them. But I feel like some of them, they're also like kind of following this woke agenda that sort of borders on the line of what are we instilling in this massive media that kids are seeing, you know? And so I don't want to go too deep into a political thing with Disney, because I really do respect Disney as a company. I love how they've actually changed the culture in a sense of it's kind of cool to be a nerd in a sense, you know, with the Star Wars and you know, Mickey Mouse. It's cool, like, to have a backpack with Mickey Mouse, like, that's really cool. But then it's also like a deep line of consumerism, and I feel like sometimes Disney is missing the mark a little bit,
right?
And I think they need to get back to kind of their roots of let's keep the agenda out of it, and can we just kind of keep doing stories about people, heroes evolving, and also build this technological world that they have been building for so long, and start making franchises that rival Star Wars, that are like on Indiana Jones level. Like, I know they have Frozen, and I think Zootopia is kind of on that level, but I would really love, I'm going on a slight rant for a moment. I love how they gave Marvel some money. Obviously took a lot of money away from Marvel, right? Because they were just spending too much, and they were doing all these crazy like shows that they might have not needed, like She-Hulk and maybe some other ones. But I loved how they were giving like directors that nobody knew, like new directors kind of, that have only been doing short films or whatever, and they're giving them a platform to do this on a huge, massive scale. Who knows what it's really like when you're, you know, a director being pushed into that giant machine, and kind of what you have to kind of deal with, and how much is really your spin on it, you know? But I really have to look at them and be like, wow, that's really cool that they're giving them opportunities. They're giving new creative storytellers opportunities. And you know what? Maybe I just convinced myself that I'm glad that they are doing the live action stuff, because it gives directors a new chance to look at material and kind of redo it. And these were the kind of the kids who were watching this stuff when it first came out, you know, in like this, 80s, last 70s, I would say. Sword in the Stone is kind of like, you know, that's kind of the beginning. I mean, Jungle Book was like what? What year was Jungle Book out?
Yeah, what year was that?
Hey, Alexa, what year did the Jungle Book come out?
From HighWiki.com. The Jungle Book is a 1967 American animated
67.
1967. So thank you, Alexa. 1967, and then so 70s, 80s, and then they kind of hit this thing in like the 2000s when like CG became photo real almost to a sense, and they started doing like Alice in Wonderland. Tim Burton did that,
right?
And then
Toy Story.
Toy Story in '94, and then these live action remakes though in like the mid 2000s. I'm trying to think of what was the first one that they redid. What was the first live action remake? Like Cinderella. Remake. Like, was Cinderella or Alice in Wonderland? Like, that'd be something to look up, actually.
Let's look that up.
Let's see what ChatGPT says is the first live action remaking. Let's see here. And the audience can see me type it in. If you guys don't know what ChatGPT is, you guys got to get on this. It's an AI text prompt software.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So what was the first Disney classic to be rebooted? All right, let's see what it says. The first Disney classic to be rebooted was 101 Dalmatians.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, dude, I forgot about that. Look, let's see what it says.
Cruella de Vil
was released in 1996. Whoa, the reboot starred Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil and Jeff Daniels. Love me some Jeff Daniels. Wow. Okay. We're learning new things every day. 1996, Disney started doing live action reboots. I don't know, man. I think I'm sold on this, dude. I think they just need to keep doing live action reboots I can't wait until they reboot the reboots. That's when it's going to start getting really good.
That's going to be getting a little weird for me too, dude. I mean, didn't they make what was that? I haven't seen Aladdin yet. The reboot of Aladdin.
Dude, it's okay, but like, it's okay.
I can't wait for this genie to start slapping people.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He slaps the songs. The songs slap, I guess. I thought it was interesting because you can't top Robin Williams, obviously, and it's very hard. And they got Will Smith, the guy who's until like a year ago, done everything right in his whole life, and everybody loves him. And he's a rapper, so he can kind of move things around quick and fast, and like, never had a friend like me. You know, he's kind of quick and, you know, and he's smooth with it. So I think it was cool. I don't think that guy who's playing Aladdin is getting a lot of work, though. I got to say that, though. I think, I just don't know why. I think he was okay in the movie, but I think I remember reading an article saying that, like, he's not getting any auditions. Like, it was a huge movie, Aladdin, and nothing afterwards. Could you imagine that? Like, actually, like, think about that for a second. Is like, imagine getting this job to play this legendary, historical fucking character, and it ends up not changing your life at all. Like, you get like, I mean, maybe you get like a check from Disney, but like, you kind of don't get any sort of calls or anything. It was,
right. That's
gotta be.
That's a red flag.
It's got to be rough, huh?
It's a little rough. Yeah, it's like, maybe, was he easy to work with? Was he hard to work with?
I mean, that's the same thing with the gentleman who won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor this year, which is 2023. He won for Everywhere All at Once. He played Data in The Goonies, and he played Short Round. I know I don't want to mispronounce his name, but I want to say it's like Key something. Who played Short Round? Short Round in Indiana Jones. Is it? I don't want to.
Oh,
I'm
him.
gonna butcher his name. Ki Hoi Kwan. Ki Hoi Kwan. That's not that hard. Yeah, it's not that. Yeah. It's not. You said it really. Say it again.
Ki Hoi Kwan.
Wow. Sorry about that, sir. If you're watching this podcast, I just butchered your name. He was saying something about that too. Is that it was tough for him to find work. He got these legendary roles, you know, with these great directors, Steven Spielberg working on Goonies with Richard Donner working, and Spielberg producing that, and then worked on Temple of Doom with Harrison Ford and Spielberg. And then after that, it was like slim pickings. And then he got older, and then he got like Encino Man and just like here and there. And he said himself, he realized how tough it was as a minority, an Asian man, to get jobs in Hollywood. And so it's just, it's maybe that's a little bit of what's going on with the Aladdin thing, is they're not finding good enough roles. I don't know. And maybe he's just not good enough an actor. I don't really know. I thought he was okay as Aladdin.
I feel like if you have like a really good agent, anything can happen.
Oh, dude, did you hear about what happened with this Jonathan Majors stuff with the guy who played King, the Conqueror?
Oh,
and other stuff. He's played other amazing roles,
yeah.
But he kind of got like a domestic charge, and like just imagine if this doesn't play out and like he really didn't do anything, and it's like somebody, you know, his girlfriend is, you know, something happened. I don't know what, Red, but that he didn't actually do what they're saying he did, and be warranted for domestic charges, domestic abuse charges. Do you think this messes up his career? Do you think the damage is already done, or you think they're going to forget about it?
If you, once the news gets out that some stuff happened, people might be a little shy to work with you at first. But if you like really come out to the public and express yourself and like do whatever you can to make things right, people will see that. So I feel like you can fuck up. Sorry, pardon my language. You can screw up, and but as long as you due diligence on your part to make amends, you can get back into the scene. I mean, depending on what you do.
Right. So it's like if you literally get indicted, or what is it, like when you get, you know, charged and you get found convicted of it, I think that's a whole different story of,
right.
Are you convicted by the media? I think that's a different thing than you actually were convicted by a court of law. You're going to jail, or you're going to be serving time, or you're going to be paying a fine. I don't think they do fines with physical violence cases. I'm pretty sure you have to do some sort of time or community service or something. Right. But that's just kind of, it's tough to see somebody like Jonathan Majors, who's been clawing his way up there as a black actor, as just an actor in general, but also a black actor, and climbing the circuits, working with Michael B. Jordan in Creed 3 and now Kang, you know, and I remember seeing him in Lovecraft Country, and that was a J.J. Abrams produced HBO sort of series, limited series that he was really good in. So I've been seeing him just kind of keep getting more. And then there was another one that he did where he's a fighter pilot as a, for one of the first black fighter pilots or whatnot. Amazing. So he's getting all these things, and then all of a sudden this happens. You know what I mean? It's like Will Smith. He's done everything right his whole career. He killed it in that movie with Serena Williams, his dad. I thought he was so good in that movie. I was like, this is a new stage of Will Smith. And then what does he do? He goes up and he commits an act of violence in front of everyone on another African American male. Like I don't get it. It's like it's like somebody slapping these opportunities away when these people, they've worked so hard to get there, and then all of a sudden maybe they're doing it themselves, or maybe something else is going on, something else outside of that.
In my mind, here's what I think. I think Will Smith has two lives. And one of them started taking over the other.
Oh.
And like maybe he's having issues with his family.
Yeah.
Maybe he's having issues with his wife.
Maybe.
And then he just snapped. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So like if you gotta stand up for yourself and your wife,
yeah, I mean,
now's the time.
Yeah.
But, then you're
it's true. I mean, I think there was that moment when he literally was like laughed at Chris Rock's joke. And I don't know if we're probably going over this. And people have done this so many times,
push away from this.
but I mean, just touch on it slightly, and then we can let it go. But there was a moment when he was like, he thought it was funny, and then he looked over at her, and she was not having it, and he was like, "Oh shit, well, okay, well now I gotta go do this. Now I gotta say something now.
I gotta say something."
Yeah, and
he's like, "I'm gonna be in the doghouse tonight." Crap. I gotta go slap Chris Rock.
Let me go slap Chris Rock as hard as I can. Like everyone heard that smack across the world. And then Chris Rock's like his comedy routine was pretty good. I mean, he's brilliant. I mean, Chris Rock is great, but he like kind of alluded to the whole thing, and then kind of at the very end kind of let him really have it. And again, these are two great talented guys that are just slugging it out for people's gossip, which seems cheap. It just seems cheap because they're both better than this, and it's just kind of degraded into this masquerade of classy showmanship, and now it's just turned into kind of, I don't know, violent degradation in a sense.
I remember Jim Carrey commenting that Hollywood is spineless. And I think what Hollywood needs to be reminded of is it's like, just because, and also Matt Damon has this ego dome over his head sometimes. Like, I'm a superstar, like back off. That if it's like your ego kind of takes over a little bit. And in a lot of ways, you don't really think about it until after the job's been done. And also it's like, think about it this way. Alec Baldwin. Like he's getting in, like, I mean, like someone freaking died because you gave someone a live round. How do you process that? And it's in a state where it's like there's no immunity. And so, like, when you hand over the gun to somebody, they trust you. And it's on set. That's your job. That's a tough one. That is really tough. There's a lot of...
what do you think he was thinking, like, when he found out that he could have been a major cause of a life being taken away? Do you think it was just like shifting the blame? It was like completely not his fault. It was not his fault. It was not his fault. That's how he sleeps at night. Or do you think secretly deep down he's like, I messed up. This could be the end of everything. But it doesn't sound like that, because he keeps pushing forward, and they keep trying to shoot the rest of this movie like it's going to be the next Tombstone.
Yeah. So I feel like Alec Baldwin is definitely not sleeping easy at night over it. I feel like he is he is. I mean, if I put myself in his shoes, I would be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be able to sleep thinking that I shot somebody and killed an honest and innocent, hardworking person on set. I don't think I could ever forgive myself. And I would be absolutely dead furious. I'd also look at that gun. Here's another thing. Alec Baldwin I think he did kind of mess up because the problem is like you're trying to get into your character, right? So you're really trying to get into your character. So it's like a psychological warfare in your head. And when you are trying to achieve that character, you're not thinking about gun safety. You're paying somebody to do that for you. So if I go to a gun range and the instructor accidentally shoots me in the leg, like, you know, I'm like, hey, whose fault is that? You know what I mean? Like if you hired me to and I've done this, demolitions, VFX, practical effects, where there's a lot of explosives involved. You know, we're doing pyrotechs, we're doing VFX allocations, we're blowing smoke, blowing fire, we're releasing the rockets, and you know, someone tells me to cue this one sequence, but then they made a mistake, and someone happened to be over there, and it goes off, and they got hurt or if killed, they could be all like, "Oh well, Chris was the one that pulled the trigger on that. I was just, even though I gave the order, he was the one that pulled the trigger."
Wait,
you know,
and that's true. That's how that can go down. Like you can go down for that.
Well, here's the thing, is that's when the investigation goes down.
Right.
That's when the investigation goes down. That's why OSHA 10, OSHA 30 gets involved. That's why there are rules. That's why there are safety regulations. And so that's why the person who handed the gun to Alec Baldwin, the fact that it was a legitimate gun to start with, that should have been flagged immediately. All guns on set should be modified, period. And so there are specific rounds that are made for flash muzzle fire, and even those can hurt you because
blanks.
The blanks, the plastic, the wax that comes out, it is still a high velocity plastic coming at you. You can be blinded from it permanently. You can have, if it is within 3 feet, it can burn you. So you know that to me. That's another thing. And when it comes to safety on set, VFX, regulations, that is the number one big thing. And I feel like someone screwed up hiring that person in general. Maybe they were just all about giving Alec Baldwin the real deal under the table. You know, she's all excited. Like, hey, here's a real gun. Make it, screw it. I'll put fake blanks in there. And then, you know, just woke up tired one morning, forgot to swap it out.
What were they doing the night before when they forgot to swap it out? That's what I want to do. Is like, were they just
Were
shooting
they
guns
sober?
off or something? Like,
what are they doing? Yeah. Like if I was in charge of doing that, I would be 1, checking the gun. 2, if I was Alec Baldwin, I would have checked the rounds.
Yeah, you have to.
I would have reaffirmed. So, and I mean, another thing, that's another point with special effects, muzzle fire.
Yeah. Just add it in post.
It's made it a lot easier for people and for safety.
I agree. I agree. All right. So we've entered our next part of where we talk about TV shows. And we've kind of taken a good amount of time talking about movies and effects, and we kind of spun off into some other things, which are amazing. So if we can, let's kind of break into your just quick top 5 TV shows and just kind of break down kind of like why do you like them? So going from your 5th top 5.
Ooh, okay. So I think I saw this in your trailer. Wednesday.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that show. I was really intrigued by how they're kind of making it like a CSI mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can actually there's so much that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
The show can spin in so many different ways when you add that little bit of twist to it. So I think that it's very creative. It's just it's taking off from everything.
Wednesday. And Tim Burton directed the first episode of that. He did do this time. He didn't the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but he did Wednesday, and he is the I believe he's the executive producer on it. Is that if I'm correct? Executive producer on that. So good for him.
I actually met Tim Burton.
No, you didn't. Tell me about that.
I did.
Okay, tell me about
totally
that.
Did.
All right, we're going off on a side note again. I need to know this.
I met Tim Burton at the Neon Museum in Las Vegas when he was visiting.
Wow. Okay. How did that go?
Great. Totally weird dude. I love him. And he was like,
oh God, we lost him again. It's so funny. We lost your audio again. It's hilarious though. Like right at the funniest moments. Like you're about to give us this whole thing. And okay, are you back? No, you're not. You're still gone again.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, you're back.
I think I have a faulty headphone.
Oh, it's the headset. Okay, no worries.
Like he's just like he has a weird walk, and like he's just kind of like, oh, yeah, this is And then we're like talking to him, and we're like taking pictures, and there's so many goth girls that were just losing their shit.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And I was just like, okay, and I had one gal. She came up to me. I think it was her name was Scara. She was like, yeah, I didn't know he was that old. And I was like, he's been around.
I didn't know he's that old. I was really planning on hooking up with him today, but now I don't know if I can do it because he's geriatric. He's not James Bond anymore. He's Anthony Hopkins now, which, hey. Sir Anthony Hopkins, you're awesome, bro. But damn you, he's old. He's old, and he's still kicking. He's still doing old shit.
Yeah, he's just walking around. He was just walking around in black and white, long socks, short. Okay. It's like he just had this weird walk to him.
All right, let's keep this on track. I think people are getting mad at me right now. I feel the eyes.
Wednesday, great. Sorry. Wednesday, great.
Why? Because it's CSI, and it kind of can
very
go in
CSI spinoff. Awesome. Right. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just started watching Game of Thrones.
Whoa.
A couple, like 1 or 2 months ago. And
what season are you on?
I think I'm on season 7 right now.
Okay, there's 10 seasons?
Yeah. So I just got to the point
where
there
10 seasons of
meets up with yeah.
Wait, you go ahead. What he meets up with who?
Where Daenerys,
Dany, yes, Khaleesi,
the dragon lady.
Yeah,
I'm
Dany, come on.
Yeah, so she meets up with the big meeting they had, and they introduced the White Walkers, like the dead.
Okay, there's 8 seasons.
Scene, and then the Hound basically beats the crap out of it. And
yes. Yeah. They're trying to prove to Cersei that this is true.
Trying to prove to Cersei that these things are real.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Iron, captain of all those ships was like a straight up like coward and just decides to leave.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I love Game of Thrones.
Stuff. Season 8. Well, season 7's great. Season 8. Well, we're gonna have you back on to see if. See how much you really like that. The ending season is quite controversial.
I heard that people waited a year.
Dude, come on. Yeah, we waited a whole year. I was part of that. Yes.
You're part of that.
Absolutely. And we waited how many years until we got House of the Dragon too. So we've been all a part of this. I am a huge Stark fan. And but I also love Daenerys Stormborn as well. She's amazing. All right, so
I remember showing up to a Halloween party and you were like, hello, do you know who I am?
You're like, oh, you're a Viking, right?
I was like, Legolas? Not Legolas. What's his name?
Aragon.
Boromir or something?
Boromir.
Like,
that's the most.
Yeah, I was like, Boromir.
You're like I'm exactly it. That is who I was, but in a different world. Anyway.
But in a different world,
number 4. Are you going to say 4 is Game of Thrones?
I would say 4 is Game of Thrones. 5 Wednesday, 4 Game of Thrones. 3. I would say number 3 would have a TV show. This is kind of going into the cartoon realm.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say, let's see, what's it called? I would say number 3 would have to be, oh man. God, it's like there's like so many different versions of it.
You gotta pick it. You got people just sitting here.
I just like Futurama. Futurama was great.
Futurama.
Futurama.
Okay. Why?
I like Futurama.
Why Futurama?
It's just they make fun of everybody.
Okay. Kind of like South Park.
Not only that, it's kind of like South Park. You know, South Park is great for me, and I would put it as a part of my list. But the only reason why I put it on my list is because I'm from Colorado.
Right, exactly. Okay? You know about it. And you hung out with Trey Parker and Matt Stone one lovely night, actually, that you had told me about.
That was an interesting story.
I know. You know what? I think you should just quickly kind of tell that story real quick.
Okay,
the night that Chris met Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
All right. So I'm in Denver. Going to the Art Institute of Colorado, as you know, colleague.
Yo, I think they're bankrupt now, but
they're
it was
bankrupt
good.
now,
Glad I met you here. Though, good. They're getting what they deserve.
Right. Thank you.
Chapter 11.
And I was talking to my buddy Wayne. My buddy Wayne was a performer from Steamboat. He goes back and forth from Denver to Steamboat, and he wanted me to meet up with him for a concert because he was performing that night. So I drove up the way to Steamboat and I met up with him. After the show, we got a couple of drinks. We're sitting down at the table, and across from us, the next table over, was Trey Parker. He was just sitting there with his girlfriend getting hammered, and he kept staring at Wayne. And Wayne looked at me and he was like, "Hey, do you know who that guy is?" And I was like, "He looks familiar. He's like kind of staring at us." And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's Trey Parker, the creator of South Park." I was like, "Oh wow, cool." Looked over and I just waved, and he's like, you know. And so I was like, okay, he's a little drunk, and then we came over, and then like Wayne, and then they chatted for like a second, then he left. Mm-hmm. And then Wayne, his girlfriend at the time, Kimberly, were heading out. We're calling a cab because we're all getting a little bit too drunk. And when the cab rolls up, right when it rolls up and we're getting in, I open the door. Trey Parker and his girlfriend was, "Oh, yeah, perfect timing," and then hops in with us. And so he hops in with us. And we're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, we could just we're just trying to go home, like to his place, drop us off first there." And he's like, "No, fuck that. Let's go to my place."
Oh,
and then
shit.
So then we literally go to his place, his huge compound. And then we go.
Wait! You gotta talk about their compound. Wait.
So
it's just him, right? They don't live together.
It's Matt Stone and Trey Parker. They share a compound. There's a left side and a right side.
Wow. So they do live together in Colorado on the same compound. Yeah. And it's giant or what?
It's a decent size. Like I've seen some massive houses in Colorado, but this is like. It looks like a small apartment complex, but just like 2 wings, and one side's Matt Stone, one side's Trey Parker.
Whoa!
And so when you go in,
cool.
It's like it looked like a gated community, but no, that's just their gate. And I went there, and we went inside their home. All of the walls were like these tatame. Moving Japanese style walls that you can move around. So you could, and they were all fixed to the ceiling and the walls. So you could change the size of a room by moving these walls around and change the privacy. So if you wanted a ballroom or a dance room, he would just push all the walls away and then have a huge ballroom in the center.
I'm
And
actually
so-
showing the audience right now through Google what you're talking about, and I
Yeah.
think it's fascinating that they have
Yeah.
this sort of Japanese-inspired sort of thing. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even, and I didn't even know how to like really describe this to you at first. I didn't even know it was on Google, so thanks for looking that up.
Yeah.
And
so what else? What else happened during that night? Because I think I remember the
Right.
story a little bit.
So
You guys got in the
basically-
jacuzzi
right.
and
Yeah, so we gotta. So if we're getting, we're all kind of there, right? And so he gets completely butt naked with his girlfriend, and goes into the hot tub. And Wayne and I were like, okay, well, screw it. So we're naked, and his girlfriend too is with him. I'm like the only guy there by myself, single, like right. I'm like, and then he starts hitting on Kimberly, Wayne's girlfriend, and like he's just like doing all this shit. He's like, and then someone was calling him, and he's like, just drops his phone in the hot tub, and just like, and then like whatever, and then like sea whales himself off the hot tub and like rolls and like gets up and then almost walks through one of the tatami walls and like paper, right? And then like whatever. His girlfriend gets up, smoking hot, goes and she's like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check up on him. They're gone for like 20 minutes. And so it's just me, Wayne, and Kimberly naked by ourselves in his hot tub waiting. And we're like, should we get out of here? And so his girlfriend comes out and she's like, so sorry, he's passed out. Do you need like a ride? And we're like, yeah, we need to get the fuck out of here. So we call, it's too late. It's way too late. No one's answering. This is like really before Lyft and Uber were like a thing. So taxi cabs are not picking up. We have to call Wayne's cousin to come pick us up. And Wayne's cousin is kind of, he's on his way. And we're all like, oh, by the way, here's the gate code to Matt Stone and Trey Parker's compound. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And so
naturally, he told everybody.
And naturally, he was like, selfie, going like, whoa!
This is where
like
I'm at.
going in there, and then he's like, "Well, where are they?" Like, well, so we're like waiting by the fence, and like they're passed out. Let's go. It's like, I want to go check it out. We're like, no, get in the car. We're going. We gotta go, and then we left. So that's my story.
That's the story. Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Complete with pictures, folks who are watching this. There was a couple pictures of the house. So
yeah,
that's exciting.
So
all right, next.
Lovely guy. So number. Oh, geez. Okay.
What number are we on? 3.
We're on 3. Number 2.
No. Yeah, 2. Yeah, because Futurama.
Yeah, we're on 2. And so I would have to say TV shows. Oh, man. I hate to say this. Aqua Team Hunger Force. I just fucking love the show.
Really? Okay.
I love that
show.
Tell
me why, quickly, briefly.
It's back in the day when I was, of course, in college, right? Yeah. Animation. It was just cheesy animation.
Yeah.
It was just, they brought in celebrities. Just so much fun. I just love that show. Dark humor. It's either that or Venture Brothers, because Venture Brothers is far superior than Rick and Morty, by the way. And there's an argument, and I will fight to the death.
Wow.
Even though Rick and Morty's fun and it's new, it's Venture Brothers. Like,
all right. Get quickly.
Number 1.
No. Hold on. No. Quickly. Tell me why Venture Brothers is more significantly more in depth than Rick and Morty. Quickly, briefly, if you can.
The writing, the knowledge, the detail, the jokes. You have to have some EQ and some IQ to really understand the show. And it breaks a lot of
EQ is emotional quotancy.
Yeah,
just
emotional
for people who didn't know that. Sorry, go ahead. You have to be smart to understand this show.
You have to. Well, I wouldn't have to be. Well, I would say not smart, but open-minded, curious, and a big nerd. You have to be a huge fucking nerd to like really appreciate the show. Okay. Because there's so many jokes.
And that's Venture Brother, or that's Rick and Morty?
Venture Brothers.
Okay. I'm gonna have to give that a shot because I don't think so. I'll have to put that on my list. I love to kind of put things on lists that guests kind of say that I know of them from Adult Swim and Cartoon Network from seeing it, but I'm not too familiar with
Rick and
with
Morty
its
to
stuff.
me is like the Simpson version of
A Venture Brother. Okay.
Venture
Okay.
Brothers.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting way to put that. I'm gonna have to remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and go to your number one show.
Oh man, numero uno.
Yeah, if you had to.
I would. What was that? Breaking Bad.
Oh wow. Okay.
Breaking Bad.
All right.
So
man.
good.
Some Breaking Bad. Hell yeah.
Love it.
So
Love that
why?
show.
Why?
I would have to say it's the situations with like family that you love, crime, things that you do, things that you would do for your family, and the crap that you'd go through. It's also like the whole crime background, how all of that works, and how, for example, it had so many spin-offs, like how lawyers do things and how everything is. It taught a lot of people. They actually had to talk with the director. The FBI had to talk to them and say, "Hey, you got to be careful because we don't want to teach people how to make meth.
Right.
So we got to be careful." They're also like, "Hey, we don't want to teach people how you really launder money."
Wow.
It's like,
is that what they were? Is that what? They were really like telling
laundering
them
money, acquiring chemicals and weapons.
Yeah.
And
how the drug cartels do it, really,
and how the drug cartels do it, and basically how to cook meth. So, but the reason why I really loved that show was because every episode was intense.
Yeah.
Every episode.
You're right. Wow, that's such a good way to put that. Is that they don't let up. I'm trying to think of a bad episode of Breaking Bad. Right. I don't know if I can.
There is like so many TV shows out there where it's like you gotta wait for the next episode for the punchline. No, there was
it just keeps going.
It just keeps
and there's
going.
Significant stuff that happens in every single episode that builds upon it, and you just want. That's what a great series is. Is that it teaches you things about yourself. It teaches you things about life, and also I think Ozark was kind of like that. You know what I mean? I kind of fell into the Ozark phase with, Jason Bateman and Laura Linney. Great cast, but it definitely falls along the lines of Breaking Bad for sure.
Right. Because
of the laundering of money. I was like, when I found out, I was like that people go to places of worship that get no tax, and they try to get to these churches to use them as a laundering because it's perfect because they could just use it as donations. Say donations came in. I was like, dude, my mind was blown. So like that's happened a number of times in Breaking Bad too, where I'm like, wow, this is how it's done. This is really how it's done. And so I think Vince Gilligan and Bryan Cranston, I think
Malcolm in the Middle. Like
who would have thought? Malcolm in the Middle coming in hard because he starts off like the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, kind of right as the teacher, and then
he's the dad. Well, Bryan Cranston was the dad.
But he's the teacher in Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah,
he kind of when he's in that character of like the first time you see him, like the Ned Flanders kind of look is. I mean, the first time you see him, I think he's in his underwear because they do like a Tarantino thing, right? Where it's like they show you the end first, and then they kind of go, which I love. I think that's great. But you see him as like this mild-mannered whatever, and then you see him slowly progress into Heisenberg, and when he's finally fully Heisenberg, and then when he's trying to get out of that, and he's trying to change his whole life in a sense to get away with it, but then he realizes, spoiler alert, that he's not going to get away with it, and he's got to try and do the most justice thing that he can, because now he's been found out. The closest people to him have been killed, or he's killed them himself, and it's tragedy. You feel bad for Jesse in a sense, because of how hard he got into it and how Walt just became something like of a monster in a sense, And
it was all for helping his family.
All for family.
Yeah. All for family.
And we don't mean to pull a Vin Diesel, but it is Vin Diesel time. I'm just kidding. We don't have a Vin Diesel. But we should maybe. It's all about family.
All about family.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into what I like to call is Hot Shots. and we're gonna go into like we choose a different year every single episode. So this episode, Chris Drescher has gotten 1990. 1990, Chris. Top movies in 1990: Goodfellas, Home Alone.
That was actually going to be on my list, actually. Yeah.
And
Goodfellas.
Pretty Women. Pretty Woman. All right, let's talk about them just quickly for if we can. Goodfellas. What's your impression?
Goodfellas.
Is it?
Oh my God.
Is it a classic? Is it you
Goodfellas,
enjoy
man.
it? You like it a lot? Oh, your audio came out again.
And I'm back.
Yes, you're back.
It's called Unplug and Replug.
Yes, unplug,
So,
replug.
Goodfellas, I have to say, they're Goodfellas and Casino almost made my list.
Yeah. Oh, they're great. Martin Scorsese, amazing movies about organized crime. Las Vegas.
Dude.
Also,
and Goodfellas, Sean Connery, man. It's like the only time he gets shot.
Sean Connery was in Goodfellas?
Or what am I thinking of? No. I'm thinking of something else. It was
Goodfellas, like Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci.
So he worked on another gangster film where he gets shot.
Yeah, the Untouchables, I think.
Untouchables.
With Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Sorry, he gets shot in that one. He gets shot in Untouchables, and I was traumatized.
He got
by
shot in Indiana Jones 2 in The Last Crusade. I was traumatized by that.
But he's alive. But he comes back. So in Goodfellas, it was dude, Joe Pesci, oh my gosh, like what? He was just a monster.
He was.
And I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I ran into Joe Pesci in New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I ran into Joe Pesci in New Jersey.
I think you got to tell us this. What is
Dude,
it? Is it as good as the Trey Parker story?
It's better.
Was it Trey Parker or Matt Stone?
It was Trey Parker.
Okay, Trey Parker. I'm sorry. I get them confused. I'm sorry.
So I actually met Joe Pesci in New Jersey my uncle, my granduncle started before Airbnb was like a thing. He rented out his house that was by the water by Point Pleasant in New Jersey. And he would just like rent it out to whoever. One of the people that were there that rented it out from him that were visiting was Joe Pesci. And when I visited my family in the East Coast, in Jersey, for like this little family reunion, right? I remember my uncle coming up to me and he was like, hey, I want you to go to this house, go to my old house, and I want you to go to the pool, and I need you to take out the cleaning robot from the pool and then give it a good wipe down. Do not go in the house. Do not ring the doorbell. Do not go anywhere near but the pool. And then when you're done, leave and come back here. I was like, okay, fine. And so he forgot to give me the key to the gate that got into the pool. So I'm riding this bike over there. I can't get in. I can't get into the pool. I don't have a cell phone. I don't know, and I'm like, crap, what do I do? So then I was like, what, screw it. Someone's probably home. I'm just going to do it. So then I ring the doorbell. Joe Pesci opens the door in his bathrobe. And at the time, as a kid, I was exactly his height. I'm like 6.25. I'm like 6 foot something. I don't know. And he's definite. And at the time, I was definitely like eye to eye with him. And he was like, and he looks at me and he's like, hey, are you the pool guy? And I was like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I don't, I'm just here. I can't get in the gate. And he was like, hey, no, it's okay. Come on in. Like, you want anything? I was like, autograph. I'm like, what? No, I don't. Why would I need actually, I don't know. I did not recognize him. I did not see. I did not think about it. And he was like, come on, everybody, it's okay. It's okay to ask. And I was like, oh, well, I was horrified of my uncle. So I was like, no, I'm just here to clean the pool and get out. And he was like, oh, no. Do you know who I am? I was like, no. He's like, but you think that's funny? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean funny? He's like, like, haha, funny. And I was like, sure. Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. And so he was like, kids. And then he like literally like gave me a hard slap on the back. Like that's, like a hard one. And then I was like, oh shit, this guy's like mob or something. And it was so funny because I thought of that. And then I saw the movie, and then I went back. So I did the deal, went back home to my uncle, and then I was like, hey, he's like, you forgot to take the key. And I was like, yeah, I had to ring the doorbell. And he was like, he answered the door? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, it's like, what did you do? And he was like, yeah, he gave me like a $50 tip. He gave me like a $50. He's like, he gave you Joe Pesci gave you $50? He was all like mad.
He's like, why didn't I get any of this?
I was like, what? Well, he's renting it from him, so he's obviously paying him something. And then I was just like, I was just weirded out. And then he was like, I need you to watch this movie. And then the first
he's like, I need you to know who this is.
Smacking that person to death. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You're like, it was that guy. It was that guy.
It was that guy.
He's a great actor.
Oh man.
Amazing.
Yeah, so,
Joe Pesci, that's your story. I love that. That's super awesome. Okay, so this leads into the second most famous movie of the 1990 was Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Also starring your pal Joe Pesci, Macaulay Culkin. Love that one. That's a Chris Columbus movie, actually. I'm a huge fan of Chris Columbus, the director. He did Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. He did the second one, Chamber of Secrets. He produced the third one, Prisoner of Azkaban, and then he dropped off after that. But he was so great. He's done Home Alone. He did what other stuff has Chris Columbus done? I'm a huge fan of him. I was on a movie of his. I worked as a PA when they worked here in Vegas as Percy Jackson,
nice.
The Olympians, and the Thunder Thief. Chris Columbus movies. I just want to see this. We always, use Google here. Oh, he did Pixels. Interesting. I didn't like that one that much. He did Rent. Interesting. Okay.
Really? He did Rent?
He did that. Oh, he did Home Alone 2, which I loved. Home Alone 2 was great. What a great movie to have a sequel and do the sequel right. I think the way to do a sequel, it's got to have good story, and it's got to have the original people, I think.
And closing.
And it's got to be bigger. It's got to be bigger. You got to take it. You got to make it on a bigger scale. So you took that at home. Now he's in New York. You know what I mean? Boom. It was so good. I loved it. He did Adventures in Babysitting. Interesting. I didn't know that. He did 9 Months with Hugh Grant. He did Stepmom with Julia Roberts and Susan Sarandon. Actually, that's a hidden gem if you want to check that one out. Miss Doubtfire. Fire. That's the one I was looking for. He did Miss Doubtfire. I love Miss Doubtfire so much. Robin Williams. Rest his soul. Chris Columbus. Just shout out. Third one is Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts. Rob Reiner, I believe. No, wait. Am I thinking? Who directed Pretty Woman? Directed Pretty Woman. Why do I keep saying that? Woman with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. Gary Marshall, obviously. Gary Marshall. He's killing it. Classic director. And then let's move to the top shows of 1990. All right, top shows in 1990 are Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, kind of like a mind-bending, like David Lynch sort of deal, yeah?
Yeah.
And then The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with our boy, Mr. Smacky Smackerson. Will Smith. And then Beverly Hills 90210. That was popping off in 1990. I was actually 1 in 1990, if you didn't know that, because I was born in 89. So 1990.
I was born in September of 1990.
Oh, really? Oh, see, there you go. Ooh, this is your year. Whoa, this is your year? What? Born in your year? I didn't even do that on purpose. That was an accident.
I thought you did it.
It was an accident. It was just serendipitous.
Excellent. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so then I also like to cover a lifestyle coach too as well. So this year it is Tony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins is a world-renowned motivational speaker, life coach, and best-selling author. He's known for his charismatic personality and his ability to inspire people to take action and achieve their goals. Robbins, he's written numerous books on personal development and success, and he's hosted a variety of seminars and workshops aimed at helping individuals and businesses reach their full potential. And with over 4 decades of experience in the field, Tony Robbins continues to be a leading authority on personal growth and transformation. So I just want to give a shout out to TR, as I refer to him over at my house. He's definitely, I like to do his stuff like once a year. He usually will have something that come out like the Unbreakable Challenge or something like that. Are you into like personal development or growth, or are there, have you ever listened to Tony Robbins or anything like that?
Oh yeah, Tony Robbins. Yeah. What else here? Hold on a second. So in the 1990, so I think Law and Order came out in the show.
Yeah, I love Law and Order. Law and Order is amazing.
It's like dum.
I love it. I love. He's like, Tony Robbins. Yeah. Law and Order came out in 1990. Like, sorry, Tony Robbins. Like,
sorry, Tony Robbins. I'm gonna blow you off for just 2 seconds.
I'm just saying, like, so we don't give at least we give the lifestyle coaches just a little. bit.
Lifestyle coaching. Back then, I think Tony Robbins was also one of the people that I think inspired a lot more people to do life coaching.
Yeah. I also think though that too he actually has a leeway into movies in a sense, because I think a lot of people saw him from Shallow Hal, which was a comedy by the Farrelly brothers, who we covered earlier, with Jack Black and Jason Alexander and Gwyneth Paltrow, where he's pretty much he's the catalyst of the whole movie. To be honest, he's the inciting incident of the whole movie. Is right. He pretty much hypnotizes Jack Black, because Jack Black plays this super shallow guy, Hal, and he only wants hot chicks, but he's not a good looking dude. So, and he doesn't, he believes in himself, but he's also like not that good looking. I think that's the way the Farrelly brothers wanted to play it. Gwyneth Paltrow, he meets her, she's super hot, but then he ends up finding out that it's not Gwyneth Paltrow's skinny, super Gwyneth Paltrow. She's super obese. And so there's this one scene in that movie that's specific that kills me every time I think about it. And I use it as a reference sometimes when I'm hanging out. It's like, what is like she's sitting in this chair. She sits in this chair and the chair just flats out. Like literally all of the legs they spread equal and flat on the ground, and she hits the ground. And in itself is kind of a messed up situation, which I'm not really laughing at, but I'm laughing at what happens after. Is like Jack Black's character Hal gets mad, and he's like, geez, what is this chair even made of? And the guy is like, steel? And he's like, well, then maybe you should weld the ends better or something. Like, he's just kind of like a throwaway line, but I thought that was great. So Tony Robbins got a huge recognition. I mean, he was already big by then, because this was like 97, I think 98 when Shallow Hal came out. He's going like since like 70 something, and 90 he's like the top guy in 90. You know what I mean? People know who he is. So this is 7 years later, he does Shallow Hal. So I think the younger generation, like maybe you and me, maybe that's where we got the first taste of him. You know what I mean? Other people knew like, walking on coals and, just mantras and stuff like that. They knew that. Yes. We knew him from banana fingers. You know what I mean? From Shallow Hal. And so that was kind of my first introduction. And when I started working with kind of lifestyle coaches like Matthew Boggs and Brad Sugars later, and I started just really kind of honing in on who were these top people. Oh yeah, Tony Robbins, of course. And then I just kind of started following his thing again, and he's just been top inspiration for sure. I love his energy. I love how he moves things, and he's been doing it for a long time. So I respect.
Didn't he have a stake in Men in Black as well?
I don't know. Tony Robbins? Did he have he had a cameo role in Men in Black?
I think he did. Yeah, I think he's a part of the cast.
Let's see.
Or no, wait, I'm looking up Shallow Hal. Sorry,
Alien on
Shallow Hal, but
Alien on TV monitor number 7. So yeah, Tony Robbins is
yeah,
actually
he was in there. He cameoed in it.
he's very quickly in the pictures. Yes, Sylvester Stallone is one of them. Newt Gingrich, Tony Robbins. Yeah,
there were so many cameos.
Michael Jackson and
Michael Jackson was in there.
I could be Agent M. I could be Agent M.
I can be Agent M. And then what's his name? The new Men in Black movies that I'm not really a fan of. They introduced what's his name? What's his bucket face?
Josh Brolin. Tommy Lee Jones.
Not Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth.
Jackass.
Chris Hemsworth.
Jackass.
Oh, Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville.
Of course. Oh, in the second one. Yeah, second one I felt was okay. I don't know if the second one. I guess the second one was better than the third one. So I guess that's something.
I will also say Shallow Hal, that movie. It reminded me of a friend that I knew in high school who
was this friend like pretty obese?
She had Cuddles disease.
What's that?
Cuddles disease is where your body, certain carbohydrates, it does not touch it. It just stores it, and it's literally a metabolism deal. And so it's like a metabolism disorder. It's called Cuddles disease. Let me see if I can look it up. Cuddles disease. Cuddles disease. It's Cuddle disease. Hold on a second. No. Maybe I'm looking up for something. Maybe it was something else. But I think it was nicknamed that. I'm not sure. I think it's like emotion.
Okay.
I don't know.
So what happened?
So basically, she was a really nice person. Mm-hmm. She was a really loving person. Her name was Jessica. She finally had surgery. She actually asked me out to the prom. And I would have totally gone with her, but she was so scared on asking me that she had a bunch of her friends try to ask me. And I had no idea that it was her. And I was just bad with names. And I was being a stupid high school student and getting in trouble all the time elsewhere, that I didn't really care about prom. And I had so many people, they're all like, Jessica, she's like, you need to talk to her and say that you're going to take her out. And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking to. What are you talking about? And then out of nowhere, it turns out, so Jessica would get upset at me in the hallways and not talk to me. I'm like, why are you not talking to me?
That
and then later,
horrible.
And then I didn't know. And later on in life, she got the surgery done. She found me on Facebook. She looks completely different.
Oh, wow. So how does this relates to Shallow Hal? Is like she was a really nice person, but kind of on the outside, nobody gave her a shot. Right?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I'll tell you this one time. Let me tell you this quick story. My friend Taylor Bellinghausen, she hooked me up with a friend of hers, and she was like,
I remember Taylor.
Yeah. I want to take you to, I want you to take her to prom. Right. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I'll do it. And so it's this whole thing is like, but I also want you to ask her out in front of the whole school at lunch and make it a whole thing. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. Cause I was like, it was for Taylor. Right. And so I was like, we went and did it. I did the whole thing at lunch and I took her to prom. And then we kind of got to the point of where it was gonna get a little bit, whatever. And I just didn't feel comfortable with doing it. I was like, I'll take you to the thing. I'll take you to the prom. But I don't really feel like having sex with you. And that should be an okay thing for a guy to have. We had this great night. It was very fun. However, I'm just not interested in going there.
Mm.
And and that always comes off weird as maybe a guy being like, sorry, don't want to do it. It's like, what are you, gay? What you don't like girls? And then also it kind of for them, it's like, guys are just supposed to automatically just want to have sex with everything. And
Right.
and he doesn't. And so what does that mean that's wrong with me? And so
And
that's tough. But sometimes you just got it, guys. You got to
Mhm.
go with your morals, man. You got to go with
go with your gut, go with your morals. And
Yeah.
it's like, also it's like it's acceptance. And in my mind, the fact that you did everything that you did
Mhm.
was like way above and beyond
Yeah.
acceptance,
Yeah. It's like,
So
absolutely. Did everything and then wanted the cake and eat it too.
right.
So, okay. So this is where we kind of phase out. I wanted to kind of ask you if you had any last thoughts, just kind of some closing things that you want to impart on the audience, maybe some stuff of what you got going on that they should be looking out for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I did work on a TV show for Netflix and it's going to be out. You can look it up on IMDb. It's shot here in Las Vegas. I actually did the shots for the intro. It's called Obliterated. And so if you look up on IMDb, I'm part of that.
Awesome.
And also, did you do the deal with Steve Aoki at all?
I did. Yeah. So that was really amazing.
How did that go?
Yeah, it was really fun. I was able to be a second AD. The first AD had to leave early, so I became first AD partial way through it. So was able to work with Mariah, who works with New Royalty. They do music videos. She's worked with like Oliver Trees before, and Steve was just great. He was just fantastic. He was having a tough week. His business manager had passed just recently, so he was just coming straight from a funeral. And then also Angela Aguilar, which is an amazing singer from Mexico. And she's also, she's Mexican descent, but she's an American singer. She does, amazing kind of, Spanish music. And Steve just took it and kind of remixed it. And it was really cool to see the sets and stuff that they were doing, because like just in one side of the studio is like the void and like everybody's dancing in rain and water, and then the other side it's like a diner, and they're kind of like everything's
Fun
everywhere
cafe.
all at once sort of vibe, where they're kind of getting pulled through. So it was great. It was amazing. Love that.
Last time I worked with Mariah for the New Royalties company. We made a Shinsina Music Award music video for Billboard's Music Awards. So it was so funny. Like, here I am being first AD for this music video, like documentary music video, right, about Shinsina's background. And then next thing you know, I get this other gig helping a VIP audience in the crowd at Billboards, and then watching what we did up on stage at Billboards. And it was two separate deals. And then like my director was like, hey, can you help these people out? And I was like, oh yeah, sorry. Oh, by the way, I was the first AD for this music video that they're seeing right now. They're still like, what? I'm like,
yeah.
We out here, man. Hustling.
We out here making it happen. That's
making
dope.
it happen. Hey, Joey, it's a pleasure.
So there's one final thing I like to do. I like to surprise my guests. And this is how I like to end the show. I would like you to check your email. You should have a document shared with you entitled Goodfellas 1990.
Goodfellas 1990.
Tell me if you found it.
I'm opening it right now. Interior bar night. Henry, Leigh Liotta, and Tommy Joe Pesci are sitting around at a table with some friends having drinks and laughs. Host, Tommy, you're a funny guy.
What do you mean? Yes. What do you mean? The way I talk or what?
It's just, you're just funny. It's the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how? I mean, like, what's funny about it?
Just the story. No. I don't know. You said
no.
How do I know? You said
funny. It. How do I know? You said I'm funny. How the fuck do I know I'm funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me what's so funny.
Get the bleep out of here.
I almost had him. I almost had him. All right.
That was great. It's always fun to relieve iconic movie moments like this one from Goodfellas. What a fantastic scene.
What a fantastic scene. Yes. Thank you so much, Chris, for being on our show, Flashback Montage, where we go through a different year every single episode, and we touch on what's top notch in movies, television, and lifestyle coaches. So again, I want to thank my special guest, Chris Drescher. If you guys want to go check him out, where can we find you, Chris?
You can probably find me on IG or Facebook, Chris Drescher on Facebook, or IG as ODINDRESCH on Instagram. I like to, hey Luke, what's up, buddy? So I actually, I'll post some stuff sometimes about what I'm doing. My last project was with Billy Idol. We shot it at the Hoover Dam. It was a great time. Awesome. I can't always share everything because of NDACs, but sure. I share what I can.
Hey,
all right,
absolutely.
Love you, Joey.
Thank you, Chris. Love you too, buddy. I appreciate you for coming on our show. And as always, if you guys want to become a sponsor of Flashback Montage or become a guest, make sure to just reach out to us at Joseph Charafi at CharafiEntertainment.com. Thank you so much.